Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
We're on the phone with Roman Micah from the Fast Lane Car, the Fast Lane Truck, talking about some of the world's most expensive supercars. Roman, some of these cars were built specifically for the United States and some are built for the world. Is that right?
Yeah, they're limited editions. So the Koenigsegg Regera, they're building a total of 80 only, and some of those are coming here to America. The Bugatti is, of course, coming to America, but these cars are... they're cars for people with the kind of disposable incomes that I think only me and you could dream of, right? I mean, if you're going to spend $2.6 million on a car, I can't even think about what the insurance cost would be, Nick.
I have a world plan, by the way. I'm going to own some of these. I have a plan. All I say, it's written out. It's written out on paper. I'm not sure I'll execute it, but I have a world plan.
Weren't you recently in another one of these very expensive cars, a Rolls Royce?
Yes, in the Dawn. Actually, we're going to be talking to Pedro, the new president of North America for Rolls Royce, in our next segment coming up.
Nice.
So, if you had to choose, finally, Roman, if you had to choose one of these cars that you were actually going to own, and that includes maintenance and looking after and garage and driving, what would you choose?
That's a great question, and actually the one I choose I just drove this week. So there's this new set of, and you had a great definition of hypercars that now take electricity and combine it with traditional gasoline engines to create the best of both worlds. And what I mean by that is a gas engine has, a lot of horsepower, a lot of thrust, but an electric motor has a lot of torque. And when you combine the two, you get the best of both worlds. So the three hypercars that are the most expensive that fall in that, including the Koenigsegg, but the mass production ones are the McLaren P1, the LaFerrari, and the Porsche 918. And they all combine this magical, very high-tech use of electricity and gasoline to just increase performance. Now, there is a car that is approachable that has the same technology, and you can buy actually starting maybe tomorrow because they're building them as of tomorrow. Can you guess what that car is, Nick?
Is it made by Acura?
It is. Very good, yeah.
Look at me guessing right. The NSX?
Yep, it's the NSX. The NSX has 3 electric motors, one built into the transmission and one each on the 2 front wheels, and I got to drive it both on the track and on the road, and it's amazing and terrifying at the same time. It's amazing because the car does, a lot of the thinking for you. It is a technological tour de force. So there's a thing called torque vectoring where if you go around a corner, right, normally the way a traditional car works is the rear wheels obviously propel the car and the front wheels do the steering, and then if there's too much power coming from or too much weight coming from the rear, they overpower the front wheels, and there's the thing called understeer. The car tends to want to push. But when you have torque vectoring, think about that. When you have 2 electric motors in each of the 2 front wheels, you can actually have the outside wheel, if you're going right, spin faster and provide more power than the inside wheel, and basically the car drives itself almost around that corner. And when you feel that actually happening in real life, it's just, like I say, it's amazing because you're like, oh my God, I'm such a good driver. You feel like you're, Mario Andretti, if you're using that reference.
Don't ruin it for me because I get to drive it on the 9th of next month. So,
but it's terrifying because the car's doing it and you're not.
Yeah, my whole life's terrifying, so it won't be any different from everything else. Roman Micah, the Fast Lane Car, the Fast Lane Truck, you remain one of my best friends in the whole world, and I love everything that you do. Hopefully I'll be driving again with you soon, Roman.
Yeah. We have a good time, Nick, and you're the best guy in the world to drive with because not only are you entertaining, but you're extremely knowledgeable. So it's a pleasure always to be in the car with you, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be on the show with you.
No problem. You see, clown school for me really paid off. All right, Brad, what have you been driving this week?
How in the world do I go from that segment to talking about the 2016 Prius?
Yeah, briefly, I'm guessing.
Briefly, yes. But this is the 4th generation Prius. It's been around for almost 20 years. And I guess to say Toyota is the leader in hybrid technology and sales is a bit of an understatement, as they just surpassed 9 million sales worldwide, and they've sold about 3.5 million Prius vehicles. And their success is almost their liability in a way because, well, some of it has to do with the early adopters of the Prius were a bit arrogant, whatever the term might be. So a lot of people
pain in their derriere.
Yeah, exactly. But so some of the new buyers for hybrid technology want to have something that looks different than that wedge-shaped Prius. They don't want to be the same thing. But this new 2016 has an all-new, fairly aggressive, controversial look to it. It's pretty aggressive, especially for Toyota and for the Prius. But again, it's really all about the mileage. And you can get 54 miles to the gallon, and the Eco model gets up to 58. There's 6 grade levels, and it goes from 24.2 up into kind of 31, 32 options. So you've got the Fusion hybrid, the Camry hybrid, you've got a lot of that, but the driving position on this vehicle is so much nicer than the old predecessor to it. The one negative that I've got, Sean had alluded to, there's some funky white stuff on the test car that we've got on the steering wheel and all. But I found myself taking my eyes off the road a little bit, concentrating on that center console area. But other than that, I was surprised, and I actually had to check myself a few times going 75 miles an hour on the freeway.
I'm going to get in big trouble for this, but perhaps that's why Prius drivers are so bad, because they're distracted by everything that's in the middle of the console. They can't stop looking at them. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the head of Rolls-Royce, the new president of North American Rolls-Royce, and the guy who's in charge of all the PR. They have them on the phone together in case I ask some difficult questions. That's coming up next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.